How's it going, everybody? This is Tyler Drabo. Hope you're having a great day, and welcome back to another video. Alright, this is going to be a bit of a quickie video here, but I'm going to share with you how I prepare for food challenges here on YouTube. Now, some of the most popular content here on my channel, I've done quite a few of those, and literally they've gotten almost like hundreds of thousands of views, or at least some of them have. And I know what you're thinking, how do I prepare for all of these challenges? Well, I thought I'd share a little bit about that with you here in this video. Now, of course, some of my most craziest food challenges that I've done here on my channel have been the Nick's 1 gallon ice cream challenge, the Halal Guys full menu challenge, and even two of my more recent challenges that I've done, the Cravings value menu challenge from Taco Bell, as well as the burgers and sandwiches challenge that I recently did last week from McDonald's. Now, of course, if you want to see all of that content, I'll actually leave a link to the playlist below. It has all of my food challenges and food videos that I've done in the past, so feel free to check all of those out below if you want to see all of them. But it usually takes a lot of preparation to be able to do any of these challenges. Now, I've watched quite a number of YouTube videos from guys like Eric the Electric, Matt Stoney, Joey Chestnut, heck, even guys like Basket Walkaball, and they do challenges just like this. And obviously, they don't just do it out of the blue. They do a lot of preparation to try to do something like they do every single week. And that's exactly what I do on a few instances, at least once or twice a month, in which I decide to do a food challenge like this. And the first one, obviously, is that I need to exercise. Now, obviously, it's very important that you're getting as much weight off of you as possible, because a lot of the food that I digest in these challenges, they usually pack quite a large amount of calories, obviously. And really, the Taco Bell and the McDonald's challenges that I just did, they perfectly exemplify that. They usually pack around like 5,000 or 10,000 calories in between. So you need to weigh as little as possible before you do something like that. And obviously, for me, my exercises usually go out for walks, usually, which is about an hour or two long, which I've already talked about quite a bit in my channel. So usually, at least a few times before I decide to try a food challenge that I plan, I would usually just spend like an hour a day going out and going for a walk, try to burn as many calories as possible, so that way I can be able to weigh as little as possible, so that way I can be prepared for that challenge. Now, obviously, for some other people, that obviously also mean going to the gym, obviously, you know, obviously maybe even lift some weights or something like that, like bench presses, squats and stuff like that. Hey, that's also very vital as well if you're going to do something like this, because a whole lot of that weightlifting is also going to get you in real good shape to prepare you for something like this. Trust me, most people don't just go to the Nathan's hot dog eating contest without any preparation and try to do something like they do, because it takes a lot of exercise to prepare for something like that. And that's why it's very important for me to go out and get that exercise, which is what I usually do during my walks. The next thing I also have to do is to try to see how much of it I can take down. Now, again, I don't do many of these challenges here because most of my other content involves like video games and also vlogs and stuff like that. So this is usually just like a once or twice a month thing that I usually do sometimes. Heck, maybe even more if I'm really crazy. So obviously, I need to figure out how much I'm able to put into my body. Like, for example, the McDonald's challenge. Obviously, I was only able to fit like 10 burgers. And so obviously, I got those 10 burgers there because my stomach isn't that used to doing all these food challenges, it's not going to be able to hold in as much now because I've only done very few of these challenges. Now, the more I do these, obviously, the more likely in the future that I'll be able to put more into my stomach in the future, but I can't do that at the moment. So usually I would just take a look and see exactly what is on there that I think would be good enough for the challenge, and I try to limit it to as many as I possibly can. Now, a Taco Bell challenge, obviously it was their entire Cravings menu, which I was able to do in a quick amount of time, and so obviously that wasn't much of an issue. Here at McDonald's, I really had to try to limit it, because if I try to go for the full menu, chances are it's going to put me in a real bad situation in which I could possibly hurt myself, and I may not even get to the very end of the challenge by the end of the video. And so yeah, for most of the other challenges that you might see here on my YouTube channel, expect that to be the norm. You know, obviously just start with some restaurants, burgers and sandwiches, and for other restaurants, if it's a really small menu, then maybe try the full menu or something like that. But the more I do these, obviously, that's when I'll feel more confident in being able to do more full menu challenges, obviously, and also some restaurant challenges in the future as well. Finally, in most situations, I usually avoid eating for at least 24 24 hours or more. Now, like I said before, you're packing a whole lot of calories in your stomach by doing challenges like this. And so obviously, it's very important that you have at least a few hours or like a whole day in your system where you go an entire day without eating anything. It's very important because let's say like if you're near overweight or stuff like that, if you just eat all the time and then you do a big challenge stuff like that, it's going to push you further above and it's going to make you fatter, obviously. And that's something that I don't want to have happen to me. So that's why to go on with this exercise, I usually go like a day or two before a challenge fasting. Obviously, don't eat anything unless it's like a small liquid or something like that, and really just have enough space in my system so that way I can fully prepare for this challenge without the fear of potentially going overweight or something like that. That's what most food eaters do usually nowadays. You know, if they have enough time where they can fast and really just shrink their belly size as much as possible, then hey, that's going to allow them to put as much food in their system as possible without gaining all that weight. And again, most of it is going to be water weight. So a lot of that is obviously going to come off right after the challenge. But after that, obviously, it's very important that they be able to do this without gaining a large amount of weight. Because the last thing you want to do, if you're going to do something like this almost every single week, is obviously end up becoming obese. So yeah, fasting for me is obviously very important. And obviously with Ramadan coming up, I'm going to be likely doing that again. But obviously, in instances like this where I decided to do a major food challenge like the one I did last week at McDonald's, obviously, at least 24 hours or more, you gotta go a whole day without fasting. Make sure that you have enough space so that way you can do a challenge without really getting yourself big. Now, obviously, what happens after the challenge? Well, obviously, there's going to be a lot of pain, obviously, that I have to deal with because most of the time, whenever I'm doing like a lot of food in my system, like with the McDonald's challenge, obviously, it's going to take a lot of time for me to digest all of that food down. So usually, just like I do before the challenge, after the challenge is over, I usually will go at least 24 hours without eating again. Make sure that the food has enough time to digest and really just go out and maybe just get another walk or two so that way I can burn as many of those calories as possible. Because the last thing you want to do literally less than 5 or 6 hours after a challenge is over is to start binge eating all over again, because otherwise that's going to make your weight situation a whole lot worse. So obviously it's very important that just like you're fasting before the challenge, you fast for a little bit after the challenge, because all that weight, as long as you're doing that, it's going to come right off. And of course, with enough exercise as well, you're going to be able to get back to your weight that you were very quickly. Now again, I'm not a professional at this. I'm just somebody that does these for fun, usually like once or twice a month whenever I feel like I'm up for a challenge or something like that. The most professional of eaters that usually do this, they go through a lot of preparation every week to be able to do food challenges like this here on YouTube. And trust me, they probably do a hell of a lot more of that than I do. But hey, I still gotta follow with that method as well, because if I'm gonna do a food challenge like the one I did last week, I need to be able to be in tip-top shape to be able to do something like that without gaining a lot of weight, if any at all. Now, in regards to food challenges in the future, obviously, again, I would like to do more of these, but again, it just all depends on my stomach capacity and seeing exactly how much I can take down. Now, within the next month, that's going to be very difficult because beginning next week is actually going to be Ramadan again. So obviously, I'm going to be going 30 whole days without eating for most of the day again. And so obviously, if I am going to do at least one food challenge or so during Ramadan, it's probably going to be well after my fast time, like around like past 7 or something like that. So obviously, it's going to be very difficult, but usually after that though, that's when I'll see what else I can do just for you guys, obviously. But yeah, it takes a whole lot to prepare for a food challenge. You have to do a lot of fasting, you gotta walk, and you gotta make sure that you figure out how much you can take in before you do a challenge. And that's usually what I mostly do with all these challenges. And so obviously now you know how I prepare for these challenges. Trust me, I don't just do these out of the fly. I prepare for these challenges, because otherwise chances are most of these would not end well at all. Alright, anyways, that's gonna do it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. As always, if you'd like to see more of my content, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when my latest video is released. Comment below for future suggestions for all my videos, whether it's blogs, projects, or challenges, you name it, leave it in the comments below and I'll do my best to make them. As always, follow me on my social media, all the links are in the description below. That's gonna do it for this video. I hope you're having another great day. As always, I hope to see all of you again in another video very soon. And unless you're serious about doing something like this, or if you're a professional, do not try food challenges like the ones I've done at home. So long, everybody.